Welcome to Dynamite Delight. Now, before I get started, I want to apologize for two things. One, I have not seen NWA Power. I am still sick. I'm taking medication for my stomach. So I've been tired. So I'm sorry, guys. I did not see this. And I wanted to see it, and I am going to watch it when I get a chance. But I'm probably not going to do a review of it unless you guys really want just my thoughts on it. But I've been really tired because the medicine makes you a bit drowsy and make you a little lightheaded, so it's hard to focus. The second one was my gut reports. Unfortunately, the audio is messed up on it. I know I don't have to make any justification on it, but I do have a windsock on my mic to try and make this sound a little better when I get close up like this, so I don't sound like I'm clipping. But I messed up the sound. The adjustment on it was messed up. I didn't notice. That's my fault. I'm sorry. So here we are after Blunt and Guts. What do we got? Now, we have one thing I need to say ahead of time right now. No sign of anything from Impact Wrestling. So, not knowing what's going to happen this Impact, I could easily say, screw both the companies and start bashing them out of hell. But I did say, and I said this myself, wait a couple of weeks after Blunt and Guts and see what's going to happen. So this week coming will be the judgment on AEW and Impact for me personally. I know you guys don't want to bash Impact. You want to say AEW is to blame here because that's the way you feel. And I understand it. But for me personally, I blame both companies for this because it takes two to truly tango, guys. For me, I blame them both. If nothing ever gets done, if Impact gains nothing, I blame them. If AEW doesn't do anything, I blame them. Look what happened with New Japan Pro Wrestling. You got El Phantasmo going on Impact. But now you have Eugene Nagata. I believe I'm pronouncing his name right this time. Nagata. No, Nagato. Well, I think Nagata. He's a more bigger, important person than El Phantasmo because he is a legend. Is El Phantasmo a legend? No. So, I'm just saying this. I'm blaming both companies. And if nothing happens with New Japan Pro Wrestling and El Phantasmo, I'll blame Impact Wrestling. And I'm going to blame New Japan Pro Wrestling. Who do you blame? You want to keep blaming the others or you want to blame everyone? That's me. You guys understand. You rather blame New Japan Pro Wrestling? Fine. More power to you. You want to blame AEW? Fine. More power to you. But I see, for me, the truth, that everyone involved in this is to blame. Now, let's move on. Mox versus Nagata, if I'm pronouncing his name, for the New Japan Pro Wrestling US title. Now, Nagata has not been in America or on TNT in over 23 years. Or 23 years. That's what they said. It's been a long time since he's been in America and a long time that he's been on TNT. So it was an important thing. Was it a good match? Well, we're talking about a guy who's in his 50s. He's 53, I believe. 3 years older than I am. He doesn't move bad in the ring. But what they said, and I believe it was Excalibur that said it, he said that Nagata wants to wrestle until he's 20 more years. Or what is it? No, not 20 more years. 17 more years. He wants to be 70 when he retires. Now, that's a good goal to meet. If you can still go in the ring, that's the thing. Or be a manager. That's the thing. You can continue managing all the way up into your 70s as long as you got the cognitive functions like a Vincent Kennedy McMahon. If you want to go in the ring, fine. But you got to be functional enough to go in the ring because you can easily get hurt. If you're like the... I'm not trying to bash the Midnight Express or anyone else that may want to still wrestle after the age of 50 going into 60. If they can still do something in the ring, look at a Billy Gunn. The guy is 57 years old and he doesn't even look like he's out of his 40s yet. The guy's in his 50s. He's older than me. And he can still go like no one's business. So if he can still function, no bad. No foul, no nothing. So, the thing that got me, was this to promote New Japan Pro Wrestling with AEW? It looks like it was. Because Moxley has now retained the title. I don't know if it's good or bad or not because I don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. I have no idea how the storyline in New Japan showing that an American is still holding the title. And he played Wild Thing. That's probably the music that he would play in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's not playing the music that he has from AEW. He's playing Wild Thing when the match started. So it was very surprising to hear that. But essentially, they still have a partnership with them. And New Japan is all right with their title still being on Moxley, who's a very popular wrestler on AEW and TNT. But then it makes you question about El Fantasmo. What is El Fantasmo in New Japan Pro Wrestling? Is he a lower carder? Is he a mid carder? Is he an upper carder? Is he a main eventer? You wonder, did Impact gain anything working with New Japan Pro Wrestling? That's if it is a real angle of New Japan Pro Wrestling working with Impact. I'm just saying. Cody has an announcement. He's having a match with Anthony Ogogo. And he tried to make this about being an American because Ogogo was bashing America. Now it's very interesting to see a Brit, because he's British, messing with an American, they're cousins. Because if you guys don't know, what makes America what we are is our ancestry, which comes from England. Of course, also England, France, Dutch. You wanna say it's been here, but it started from the English. And Dutch, mainly the Dutch first, then the English in large numbers, then the war, then everything else goes behind that. You would think they wouldn't use this line, but it's not a bad thing. But once you hear Cody include his daughter in this, saying pretty much, I'm not going to let some Brit who nailed me in my gut stop me from being a good father to my daughter who will soon be born. That will rile anyone up. It pulls on the heartstrings. That's the way it goes. As simple as that. And it's all right. They're doing something with Anthony Ogogo. Nothing wrong with it. The question is going to be, will they do something after that? Will he break away from the factory? That's the question. SCU versus Young Bucks for the AEW titles. If SCU loses, they break up permanently. Now, this is an interesting thing from SCU. When I originally saw Kazarian and Daniels, they were bad influence in Impact Wrestling at the time, TNA. I loved their music and I loved how they wrestled together. They were just very good tag team. And they still are. They did a great job. And it's a big question of how bad was Christopher Daniels cut open. I don't know if he took a razor and cut himself or he legitimately, once, I think it was Nick Jackson, kicked him and his head hit the turnpost and he started to bleed heavily. It wasn't just a small cut, guys. This was a large cut that literally was not stopping. It was blood everywhere. He did not stop. Now, I didn't expect them to win. Let's be honest. The storyline with the Elite, the newly formed Evil Elite instead of the Good Guy Elite, they can't have a loss like that. The Bucks are holding the titles. They can't break away from it. They can't just drop them yet. It's not time. So, this is what we got. But the question is now, where did it go with Kazarian and Chris? Look, for me personally, I want to see Frankie Kazarian become TNT champion. I think he will make an incredibly great one. This is in me. When it comes to Christopher Daniels, he could be a mentor. I would like to see him transition from being a wrestler as a manager. I think he'll do great as a manager. I think that he could be managing someone and once in a long while go in the ring. But I truly believe he should be a manager now. He's working in the back majority of the time other than wrestling. So let him work more in the back and then let him be a manager from now on. That's what I'd love to see. I know we already got a couple of managers. And what happened with Jade Cargill, you see they're trying to find out who is going to be her manager. Vicky Guerrero's already tried. Alex, I forgot the guy's name, Alex or something. I don't know. The guy who was posing as a lawyer, he was the one who was trying to say, I'll be your manager. When it came to Vicky Guerrero, she was going to try and be her manager. And she says, I don't need anybody, which honestly, she kind of does. She's not ready for prime time yet. So seeing her with a manager would actually be a good idea as far as I'm concerned. Honestly, she needs a real manager. Ask Mark Henry to be the manager. AEW, call Mark Henry, make him her manager. You will gain something. I'm not asking him to wrestle again. No. I'm asking him to be a manager. That's just me. Tell me below. Number one contender for Kenny Omega's title. Pac versus Orange Cassidy. Let me give it to you like this. Who do I like more? Orange Cassidy or Pac? You guys should know. I've already said who is the guy I love the most. And that is Pac. When I get the rest of my pictures put up on here, one of them is going to be with Pac on it. And when you see it, I'm going to show it to you before I hang it up. You're going to see I made sure that Pac was he was the focus of it because I already made it. I just haven't had a chance to go and buy it yet. Particularly, I've been sick and I got to save my money if I want to try and get a larger shot of it. Because it could cost maybe $30 to get it if I can afford it. But seeing that Pac didn't win, I was pissed. But then seeing Orange Cassidy didn't win, I'm going like, are they really going to do a 3-way at Double or Nothing? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. They want to try and drum up some real interest for Orange Cassidy. Now they're going to they're bringing back fans in full attendance. That's what Cody said. So that means from now on, after the pay-per-view, we're going to see large amounts of people at full capacity. And I'm hoping they'll be doing it right. I'm hoping the people won't get sick. I haven't heard that the pandemic has dropped or is now over. I'm just hoping everything will work out. But seeing they want to try and bring up Cassidy and Pac makes sense. Doesn't mean I like it, but it does mean it makes some sense. Now, let's see. We got Britt Baker having a moment. And this is the first time I truly did like the Britt Baker's interview. Now, I've never hated them, but she just didn't feel legitimate to me. I'd rather see her as a real dentist who is a wrestler who will knock your teeth out of your mouth. But what she spoke about, saying that she will show how great she is after I got my face smashed in by Sheeta and my nose smashed up, I could either had pretty much taken the pain and cried like a bitch or rose to the occasion. And with her, she rose to the occasion, which I can honestly say she did a good job. Now the question is going to be, will she win the title or not? Because let's be honest, Sheeta should have dropped that damn, Hikaru Shida should have already dropped her damn title already. She should have dropped it. But she has not dropped it. She didn't drop it to Thunder Rosa, and she hasn't dropped it to anyone. And I truly am worried that Sheeta will not drop the title at Double or Nothing. That's my greatest fear. Because let's be honest here. Let's be truly honest, guys. Sheeta winning that title has not elevated it. And I'm not against Hikaru Shida. The woman can actually speak English, and instead of doing segments on Dynamite, you relegated it to Dark. And that's if they did anything on Dark. Thinking that the real hardcore fans will be the ones that's going to care the most. No. This is one of the things I truly think they're being dumb about in AEW. You want to get casual fans as well as hardcore fans and make sure that you sponsor everything. Look, the people love the Attitude Era because as much as you can't stand Vince, at that time he understood how the people worked. When it came to casuals, you got to give them spectacle, but also you got to make sure they can keep up with the story. Make sure the story makes sense on the show. Make sure you have the segments to go with the show, and then make sure that it has a payoff at a pay-per-view. Right now, they're not doing that. And it kind of ergoes what it goes for this entire title of this video. And I will get to that last. I'm just worried. Now, what else we have here? Thunder Rosa goes up against Allure. A squash match. This really didn't mean much. But we noticed that Selena Deeps is now back. I can't remember who she's up against. I think she's up against Conchi. She might be. I'm not sure. I don't remember who she's up. No, Red Velvet. Now I remember. She is now going up against Red Velvet. Now the question is going to be, when is she heading over to going from AEW to NWA? Maybe it was on the episode I've now missed that I got to watch, because I've not seen NWA, as I said. Haven't seen it yet. So I will be watching it. And like I said, I believe I said it earlier, because I just refilmed this. If you want me to do an overview or review of it, just leave a comment below, because I'm going to be watching it tomorrow or Friday, counting on when, well, I got to go to physical therapy and let the people there know I'm okay, because there was the incident of me getting really sick and having to go to the hospital. Don't worry, like I said, I'm not in any danger as far as I know. I'm fine. It's just that my stomach got screwed up by celery. Bad. I never knew I was really fucked up by celery. Not surgery, celery. I don't even want to think about how bad my stomach cracked. You see, I'm botching. It's making me upset. Let's move on. The final match of the night. Miro versus... Oh. This match, I knew had to be the way it was. I knew it was going to happen. When you saw the vid pack for Darby Allin, it was well done. And he had good points. He said clearly, when you came here to AEW, what are you? Who are you? You were a gamer. Now you're the best man. You are nothing. I'm holding on to this title. I am not dropping it to nobody. No one is taking it from me. And then we had no match. We got the beatdown. And then we had the match, which was a good damn match. It's very good. I did enjoy it. But in the end, next to Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky attacking Sting twice, Dark Order trying to protect and get after Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, we clearly get one thing. Miro becoming now the TNT champion. Now, many people are going to say, this is great. Finally, they finally pulled the trigger. But this is not great, because we have no idea what happens to him now. Understand, guys, gaining a title is incredible. Great. That means the company may invest something in you, but the question is how long you keep it. How long do you keep the damn title? Is the damn question. What they're going to do with you with the title. Will you have a storyline with the title? Will you get backstage segments with the title? Will you get in-ring segments with the title? Will you have a rival to go up against you with the title? Will it be the same person over and over again? Or will you get fresh matches? They got a huge quantity of people that Miro could go up against that are in tag teams. You got everybody from Dark Order. You got the Pinnacle. You got also the Inner Circle. You got what's going to happen with Jurassic Express. You got a huge amount of people that you can throw at Miro. You got to make him interesting. You got to make him dominant. He's got to go against everyone. And yes, Lance Archer did come out just before the show ended. He wants to make sure that he's staking his claim in the dirt that I'm coming for that damn title. But if they throw Lance Archer at him immediately, we'll be dumb. Dumb. If you really want to make Miro mean something, you cannot let Lance Archer beat him head out 100%. I don't care. Full Gear would be the best time for Miro to actually face a Lance Archer. Not a Double or Nothing. I'm just saying. Finally, a bite off of Austin. I gotta say it. The Pinnacle making it very clear how much dominance they are. The Pinnacle with MJF sounding, they have won the World Series. They have won the Super Bowl. They have won everything. They had shown how dominant they were. And then Tully Blanchard, who sounded choppy. Now, mind you, he doesn't do that often. He's not the mouthpiece. It's MJF who's the mouthpiece. He's the one who put over Shawn Spears. He's the one who made sure that everyone there felt important. And I'm not taking anything away from Tully. At one point, Tully was a great talker, at least when he was in the, well, you got, Ric Flair was the best talker amongst them. There's no lie about that. Art Anderson was the best talker. Only wasn't a very good talker, and Telly was somewhere in between. But he wasn't bad. Here he sounded a little bit choppy because I think a couple of things. One, he couldn't remember what he wanted to say because he was excited. And two, he couldn't remember what he said because he got a little too excited. But here's the thing that got me. Putting over the Inner Circle. That is the Pinnacle. Making them understand that they saw what the Inner Circle was. They were no match for them. They actually got Santana arrested by getting him stuck in the eye. Well, not stuck in the eye. Stuck in a knife. Well, I'm not exactly sure what they did there. That Santana got arrested because of the fork in the skull, not the eye, because he wouldn't be able to see. You wonder how far they're going to go with Santana. Now, if he's really arrested for something, that's a good cover for it, but I'm wondering what it is. Is it a real arrest or is it a mock arrest? I don't know. It sounds like it's a mock arrest. But them putting over the Inner Circle the way they were, beating them down, and now here in the Inner Circle because you got Hager, you got Ortiz, and you got Sammy saying they want another match. And the Inner Circle saying no. I'm going like, well, that means the Inner Circle is going to come out and face the Pinnacle. And then you hear honking. And I'm going like, they're coming in a car, a van. And then you see this sight you see in my face. And I'm going like, no, they would not. They would not. Then you see Jericho, who they said is never coming back, who dislocated his elbow from the fall, supposedly. And people said he didn't get hurt. You got the Austin segment against Vince McMahon and everybody else with the beer cake truck. A little bit of the bubbly truck? Really? You actually bit off of what Stone Cold Steve Austin did in WWE. That also Kurt Angle bit off of, and instead of it being a cake truck, it is a milk truck. You really went there. Who is the one who decided to do this? Does this mean it was a bad segment? The crowd seemed to like it, but doesn't mean it's 100% likable because they're biting off of the WWE. People want something different. They don't want to copy the WWE. They wanted them to go off in a different direction. Now, for me personally, when I saw that, I'm going like, oh, shit, they actually went there. And I thought, there's going to be people that's going to poon this, and then there's going to be people that's going to absolutely love it. For me personally, it's not about loving it or hating it. It's about what's going to be built off of it. Because let's put this in perspective, guys. The question is not going to be if there's still going to be a feud between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. That feud is not over yet. Not until we get to, well, they finally did announce they're going to do it. MJF said he's going to allow the match. And it's going to be a stadium stampede fight again. But if they lose, they disband the Inner Circle. They're going to be waiting for their answer probably next week because they didn't say yes and they didn't say no. This is where things become interesting, guys, because the question's going to be, what are they going to build off of this? If the Inner Circle loses, that means you're going to have Sammy Guevara on his own, Hager on his own. Unless he's going to team up with Chris, he's going to be on his own. Then you're going to have Santana and Ortiz by themselves. Will they push them? Will they push them? That is the question. With such a deep roster in AEW, what are they going to do with all these guys? The Inner Circle was the first faction created after the Elite. Flat out, the Elite has always been the first faction created. But the first faction after that was created when the show was already started, is the Inner Circle. And now you're about to disband them possibly. Because I don't know if they're going to win or not. I think they're going to lose, and MJF's team is going to maintain. Unless they want to drag this out going beyond the pay-per-view and going into Full Gear. I think his next one is Full Gear. I could be wrong. But you get my point. It's got to be something that's going to make sense and that they can build off the back of. Now, they just bit off of the WWE. They bit off of Steve Austin, which I'm sure he tweeted and he probably said, hell yeah. A little bit of the bubbling from a Steve to a Y2J. Fine. I didn't hate that, and I didn't say I loved it either. I'm worried about what they're going to build off of it. This wasn't a bad show. The matches were good. They weren't all perfect, but they were good. The question is going to be, what are you going to gain when it comes to the pay-per-view? Will you gain something great? Like, will Christian have the edge after he goes up against Matt Sydal? Because Christian wants to gain that little shot at the, I forgot what the name, the Casino Battle Royal, and have his chance to go up after a championship. Maybe the AEW title or the TNT title is not specified. And it's the same thing for Sydal. The question is going to be which one it is. I don't know. But you guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not going to put any thumbnails in this one. I'm okay, but I'm still kind of tired. So if there's no thumbnails, which I don't believe I'm going to put in, I'm sorry. When I feel better, I'll start putting thumbnails back, or at least a few thumbnails in my videos. Peace.